So let's really quickly go over the guarantee of Rolle's. Instead of going through Rolle's theorem itself, just the idea of Rolle's theorem, isn't it? Can we agree that the idea of Rolle's theorem is that if we take 2 points, we take this point right here, and then we go somewhere to the right of this point, somewhere, anywhere we want, Billy, it doesn't matter where we stop. But if the heights are the same, and we connect these 2 dots with something that's functional, then what is true? What will definitely happen? Joel? At least 1 point the slope will be 0, right? Because my function maybe is kind of sinusoidal. It looks like this. And in my case, how many times does the slope go to 0? But Joel, possibly your function, when you drew yours, you were tired and you're like, you know what? That's a function. Well, that is a function. And how many times does the slope of this green line go to 0? All the time. So Rolle's guarantees us that if, let's call this point A, f of A, and call this point over here B, thank you, f of B, that if f of A is equal to f of B, what Rolle suggests to us is that somewhere on that interval from A to B, at least one place, the slope goes to 0, right? So Rolle's is a test. But remember that on the AP exam, we're not going to hear very often. We're not going to see very often the word Rolle's. We're going to see what instead? What's the key word? What's the word that we're going to see and go, oh, this must be. And when you see the word guarantee, I want you to think of 3 things. And we're going to cover them all. But it has to be Rolle's theorem, MVT, which is mean value theorem, or IVT, intermediate value theorem. Today we're going to talk about Rolle's. All right? So the first thing I'm going to do with this function is what? I'm going to do my test. And what does the test encompass, Seth? Yeah, take f of A, f of 5 halves, and then I'm going to take f of 3. And what is f of 5 halves? Negative 10. And all I did was plug this back into the function, right? I haven't taken any derivatives yet because we're doing a test. The test is supposed to be tell us if we should proceed or not, given this theorem. And what is f of 3? Is also negative 10. Good job. So here we are taking the AP exam, right? So we want to hold hands with our reader, but not hug. We don't have time for hugging. So I am going to say that. I'm going to say f of what? F of, we can be even more specific, Joel. Right. F of 5 halves is equal to f of 3. Therefore, yes, by Rolle's theorem. We don't have to quote Rolle's theorem. There's no need for us to go back and say, let f be continuous on the closed interval a, b, and differentiable on the open interval a, b, blah blah. We don't need to quote that crap to them. That's us hugging our reader. We don't have time to hug our reader. We only have time to hold hands. So all I'm going to say is yes by Rolle's theorem. And I'm telling you, on that scorer's guide, he or she is looking for you to use the word Rolle's theorem. It's possible, just to have it said, it's possible that once we know all these theorems, that you could quote different ones. That is to say, you could quote mean value theorem or Rolle's theorem, and they would both be equally correct. So don't have to freak out if you get there and you're like, holy crap, which one? If they're both true, quote one of them. We don't have time to quote both, Joel, because yeah, no hugging. We got to get moving, right? Hold their hands, walk them to the answer, but then get going. So, yes, there is a guaranteed value. If the only question, Elsa, is there a guaranteed value, then let's stop right there. But if it says, if there is one, if there are values, name them, then what do we have to do? Yeah, now we're going to say, okay, f prime at, actually, and this is the notation they like, f prime at c equals 0. So we'll take f of f prime at x. What's f prime at x here? 4x minus 11. This makes perfect sense to me. Because how many times is this thing going to go to 0? How many times is the slope of this function going to... How many times could the slope of a parabola go to 0? 1. Remember the slope, right? Because how we figure out how many times a function can change, roughly, is we look at this and we're like, it's 1 less than this value. right? So we have a square function. It can only change directions at maximum one time, right? So it's going to change directions once, and that's what happens here. Joel, I'm going to show my reader that I'm doing what I said I was going to do. I'm working my way through this. And f prime at x equals 0 if x equals what? 11/4. I might leave it this way, but if I'm moving pretty good, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to write c equals 11/4 is value what? Now I'm going a little bit more than hand holding, but if I'm on a roll, I might do this. Is value what? I'm going to give them their word back. Is the value guaranteed what? Guaranteed by Rolle's theorem. Jason, you might be asking, like, have I crossed the line? Am I hugging them now instead of holding hands? Close, Elsa? Maybe. It's not a full-on hug. Like maybe it's like an arm around the shoulder or something. But remember, when they grade you, they're going to be looking to see. Remember, they're not going to give you that medium score. They're going to give you the one over it or the one under it. So all I'm trying to do is make sure that we're encouraging that reader, right, Kevin, to bump us up to that next score, right? All right. In case you didn't know, Kevin Lee knows math. I do. He said he does. He said, I do. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Your comments are always welcome, right, Kevin?